uma pausa no seu podcast para contar que chegou o novo Peugeot 2008, um carro que impressiona até quem já viu de tudo. Conheça uma experiência de puro prazer em dirigir com acabamento sofisticado e design inconfundível. Descubra como conforto e tecnologia podem elevar o nível da sua experiência de direção. Conheça o novo Peugeot 2008 e deixe a inspiração te guiar.
Hello, and welcome to Black Marriage Therapy, BMT for short. Here we become students of marriage in order to create healthy, long-lasting relationships. I'm your host, Kristen Smith, and in today's episode, we discuss pleasure, sex, empowerment, confidence, and much more with Goody Howard. Goody Howard is a world-renowned sex educator and consultant. She has dedicated her life to empowering others through sexual exploration, education, and awareness. Goody teaches sexual skill workshops, offers sex-positive professional development opportunities, and creates dope, sex-centered t-shirts. She layers her focus on pleasure and education with her energetic and engaging presentation style. If you have been enjoying the content, please follow us on Instagram at Black Marriage Therapy, rate us on your podcast platform, and share your favorite episode with a friend. We also have a unique opportunity for you to support this podcast monthly. All you have to do is go to our show notes and click the link to support this podcast for as little as 99 cents per month. You could partner with us to continue to provide you with high quality content.
Hello, BMT family. Grateful to be here doing another episode with you guys. We're here with Goody Howard. Excited to start the conversation. So first thing that caught my eye was underneath your description, you mentioned sexual empowerment.
Yes.
And we know you used to be a counselor. So I don't know how, we want you to take us through the journey of going from counseling to rhydology. Like, how does that even?
Well, I've never been a counselor. My training, I'm a master level social worker. So my training is such, but the way no, absolutely not. The secondary trauma, the tertiary trauma, the responsibility, I don't want any of that. And I'm an empath. And so if I was to do therapy, I would want to be everyone's friend and take everyone home and try to fix them and do that. And also I'm very directed. So therapy, you can't tell people what to do. Mm-hmm. You got to give them the tools to help them get there. Mm-hmm. Patience is not a gift. A virtue that I possess. And so I thought I was going to do counseling. I thought the only way you could show up in this field, in the sex education, health and pleasure, was to be a sex therapist, because that's all I'd seen on television. And I did this like grad school counseling interview and all the things, and I didn't get in the program. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Like, I'm not used to not achieving the things I set my mind to. So this was a complete like out of left field. I was like, what do you mean I didn't get in? What are you saying? And so I sent a little email to the director, like, hey, I would like to know how I could be a better candidate in the future, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, no, you did great. She said, but what you want to do and how you want to show up is more social work. It's not counseling. But no, counseling was never, once I realized what counseling and therapy really was, absolutely not. I operated within my boundaries though. So I'm a workshop kind of girl. I am a curriculum. I'm a programming, a macro practice, because no, 101s are not for me. And I learned that early. So I said, thank you for your service, because there's no way. I can't be in session and you say, and the client says something that got me activated. Now we both activate. No. Everybody can't be treated at the same time. That's very real. Very real. And I understand that. So I don't, no. Therapy is not my thing. I do coaching, and I only do it via Zoom, like online, because the rules exist for a reason. People show up without clothes on and things of that nature. So when you sign up for coaching, the contract states that everyone must remain clothed.
They think that you gonna...
We call that somatic. We call that somatic sex education, or somatic sex doulas and things like that. Somatic meaning they put their hands on people and help guide them toward the goal, right? That's not my ministry. And so I make that clear. Everyone must remain fully clothed. Everyone must remain on camera at all times. No. So that's not what I do. I operate in my boundaries. So that's how the workshops and things. Every time, so if I get the same question over and over again, I create a workshop about it because I hate repeating myself. My bachelor's is in business, and I use it every day. It's in business management and development. And so if I get the same question over and over again, I take those questions and then I flesh out a workshop, and then I record the workshop online and offer the replay for sale on the website. So, and then that way I just offer it live every once in a while, live online, live in person every once in a while to like refresh it, to add new things, to take old things out, like things, like that. But no, therapy, counseling, not a thing.
So how did you get into sexual empowerment? I'm so curious.
Well, so I do liberation work. I say freedom is what other people give you. Liberation is what you do for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I help empower people to their own liberation because there's so much shame and stigma around pleasure, around health, around sexuality, and all the way those things show up. And so my job is, in my little blurb about what I do, I connect people to pleasure with confidence. And I think that once you do that, that confidence shifts and it permeates every other thing that you touch, right? You sit different, you walk different, you smile different, you dress different, you engage different, like everything shifts. And so that's why I say I shift the culture forward because I think that it matters, especially with Black and brown folks.
I think that's a great segue because part of the reason for this episode is sexual empowerment in marriage. Because depending on who you talk to, people feel like marriage is a ball and chain, like that's where sex goes to die. And for me in my own personal journey, we've been married 12 years in October. We got married at 18. I came from a church background, so there was a lot of shame and sex.
Definitely started all the way behind the 8 ball, didn't we?
Not good. There was like a lack of sexual experience, so many different things. But more recently, and I don't really know how this came to be, I just decided to take ownership of my own sexual pleasure. And that completely transformed my life because like the things that you're saying about how, when you get that, it kind of permeates into different parts of your life. Like you walked like your confidence is different. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so true. And it's like,
confident is the sexiest thing you can be.
I destigmatized it. I don't know. And I can't tell you how. Now, hopefully you can.
And it's a process too. I think people think that there's a switch that goes off.
Yeah.
And then you suddenly, everything makes sense and you're just so empowered and blah, blah, blah. It's just like any other thing that you're learning and making a part of your life. It is consistent. It is constant. It's not like a destination. It is very much a journey. But yeah, I think, because you said y'all been married 12 years, y'all married 18. So quick math, y'all are like on the cusp of 30.
We're 30.
If you're not 30, yes. Okay. And with that, I feel like biologically things change. At 30, at 40, at 50, our bodies know when we hit these milestones, be it the telomeres in our DNA, whatever it is, our bodies know when they've been on Earth a little longer. And certain shit don't work the way it used to. Certain things that you used to tolerate, you don't tolerate anymore. Certain things that you used to put up with, you don't put up with anymore. You've reached your limit for certain things. And I think at 30, a light goes off that no one's coming to save you. And if there's something about your life that you feel like you could be better, it's your responsibility.
Yeah. Very good.
Yes, you are like preaching to me right now. And I think that's what I would love to like, talk about a little bit to our listeners is like, how can you like even start the journey of taking ownership of your pleasure?
Okay. I think first, going back to what you said about people say about marriage, the ball and chain, and that's where sex goes to die, and yada, yada. I definitely feel like that is man-generated propaganda. Not to choose sides, but I feel like a lot of the things that we think about when it comes to partnership, when it comes to relationship, when it comes to a lot of things, milestones, it has a very masculine or male gaze. And I think because a lot of men view their, sowing their wild oats, etc., then you get connected to this one partner forever. It does sort of feel like a restriction. It does sort of feel like a ball and chain. And, especially if you feel like you had the potential to be this ladies' man. And it'd be the main ones that ain't nobody checking for that feel like, and then like no one was even looking for you. Who even married you? Like, what are you? So, I mean, but comedy aside, I do feel like that is something that comes with society's interpretation of the loss of freedom to have other partners, etc. And so you got to kind of get around that. And sex does hit different when it's the same partner every time.
Yeah.
When you're worried about bills and babies and business, it weighs it down. A lot of us feel like sex has to happen at night in the bed. I tell people all the time, you paying a rent or a mortgage for that whole house. Okay, not just your bedroom. Have some sex somewhere else.
Okay.
Any
paying for all of
any
it.
room is a sex room.
Any room.
These are all
Any
sex
room.
rooms.
Backyard, if you got a privacy fence, you know what I'm saying? It's a sex yard. He's right. So, I mean, like so a lot of times people just get stuck in a rut because society tells them, media tells them that that's what it's supposed to be. Right. And so it gets routine, it gets mundane, it gets boring. And if your hair got boring, you change it. If you didn't like your outfit, you change it. If you were like, oh, I wear denim all the time, I'm gonna add some colors. You would add colors. So why, if you are in some sort of rut or some sort of routine when it comes to your relationship, specifically sexually, why wouldn't you add something? And we don't get, like I said, we get weighed down with business and babies and bills. So we don't have the time. They're going to be there. We live together now. You live in. You ain't going nowhere. I ain't got to make plans. I don't have to take you out. I don't have to coordinate schedules. I don't have to do any of that because you're right there. So you'll be there. I get there. I get over there when I get over there. Kind of thing, right? You used to get your nails done. You used to get your hair done. You used to plan your outfit out, whatever it was going to be. Go get your hair cut, whatever you were going to do because you used to see somebody. You don't do that no more. And they know they seen behind the curtain now. You know what I'm saying?
Like
They know
that
you don't.
perspective shift, like changing
It does.
Yeah.
They're not new and shiny anymore. And it happens to the best of us, right? But you have to, once you recognize that, you got to do something about it. And that's what I think people get stuck in that's where sex goes to die, or it's boring, it's routine, it's a rut, because they allow it to be. Once you realize that's what it is, what you going to do? Now that awareness, is one thing. Action is something else.
So I have a question. I was doing research and I heard this, and I want you to kind of tell me your take on this quote. I found this quote: your mind is your biggest sex organ. Your skin is the second. Tell me, what does that mean? I think about it, and leading us to like sex is more mental than we realize, but I'd like to hear your thoughts.
So it is. Sex is more mental than you realize, but also the impediments to pleasure are more mental than you realize. So again, the business, the bills, the babies, right? So if your mind ain't in it, it's harder for your body to do it. Now, your body, if you are being stimulated, your body is going to respond, because orgasm and arousal is a physiological response, right, to stimulation. But if you mad at them, you might just be going through the motions. You might be doing it because y'all fuck on Tuesdays and it's what we don't. Right? Your skin, again, it's not just about the touch. It's not just about like a caress or a grip or a pinch or a pull. Sometimes it's about the way your clothing feels on your skin. I teach a workshop called Sensual Intelligence. And what it does is it separates sensuality from sexuality. So sensuality is experiencing great joy and excitement through all 6 of the senses: sight, sound, taste, touch, scent, and feel. And feel is that emotional component. So when you're connected to the world sensually, you're experiencing life through all 6 of the senses: a great meal, amazing conversation, a hug, right? When you hug somebody, that's all 6 of your senses, because you see them, you can smell them, you can touch them, right? Sight, sound, taste, touch. You can't taste them. That's a different kind of hug.
You can nibble on their ear.
And it depends on if it's your aunt, somebody, you know what I'm saying? You can't really just do all that. But like, it's a full body experience. When you're in with a friend, the food comes out, it smells amazing. It's beautifully plated, right? You have a great conversation. You get excited when the food comes because it's so pretty, right? You got to take a picture of it for the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then, it tastes great. There's temperature, that's texture and taste, right? And then the feel of the weight of it on the fork, how it feels in your mouth, the texture, all of that. It's an experience of the senses. And so people conflate sensuality with a sexual theme.
So is there any sensuality in sex? Like we mentioned foreplay.
Yes.
I talked to you about that. How does that translate? Sensuality. 'Cause I'm trying to follow you, but I can't, because I think sexuality, you telling me, is different. How does sensuality
It's a
translate?
yes and like, so when you become a more sensual being, because these non-sexual things excite you, right? These non-sexual things bring you joy,
Okay.
because the definition of pleasure is experiencing great joy and excitement.
Okay.
Mhm.
It
Okay.
has nothing to do with sex.
Yeah.
We conflate pleasure and sex.
We do.
Right?
We do.
We
yeah.
do.
So when you can experience non-sexual pleasure
Uh-huh.
through all 6 of the senses, it makes experiencing sexual pleasure more accessible through all 6 of the senses.
I'm
You
learning.
practice in how you play. Remember, we're talking about staying ready versus getting ready a minute ago.
Okay.
See what
So
I'm saying? So staying ready is the non-sexual pleasure. So you ain't got to get ready with the sexual
What's-
pleasure.
so it's like, is it kind of? I'm gonna say this word. Is it kind of like mindfulness a little bit? Like when you are
It
in
is.
present.
like,
It is.
present.
It's
in it,
present. It's
like,
being present. It's being mindful. It's
being-
connecting to all 6 of the senses through that pleasure. Like if you're performing oral sex on someone,
okay.
it's not just, it's like let's say it's oral sex on a vulva.
Yeah.
It's the firmness of the clit, the
Yeah.
softness of the lips, the softness of your mouth, the wetness, the breathing, the way they hold their breath in anticipation of what you're
Okay.
going to do next, how they relax their whole body when you do it, right? All of that should feed into the pleasurable experience for the person performing the oral sex. Now, I ain't even got to the person receiving yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I teach my workshops, I teach from the pleasure of the person performing the act. So my oral sex workshops, I say, if you have not reached orgasm from performing oral sex, your life is incomplete because we focus on your pleasure. The rightology workshop is putting the pleasure back in the person on top. I don't care about the person on the bottom. I have a strokeology workshop for y'all. Right now, we're focusing on riders.
Focus on the riders. You know what I'm saying?
And I am very much the actionable sex educator. Like I'm the homework girl. So in the sensual intelligence workshop, people always say, this is great information, but how do I connect to the sensual part of myself? Because you live life, you just on autopilot. So the homework that I give people is to take a shadow shower. And a shadow shower is in a bathroom that you are familiar with. Okay.
Yeah.
No lights, no music, no candles. Just your eyes will adjust as sight. Right?
Yeah.
You can hear the water. You can hear your breathing. The acoustics in the bathroom are outstanding. Right? Everybody can get a record deal in the bathroom because, the acoustics are white. So you hear your breath, your breathing bouncing off the walls, the water, etc. You can taste the water. You smell whatever you're using to wash your body with, be it soap, body wash, or what have you. So when you take your shadow shower, the body wash, right? The scent, the smell of what you're using, what have you, the touch of your towel or loofah or scrubby or what have you, the feel of the water pressure, the water temperature, right? And then you feel different. Like when you clean, it's sort of like a reset, right? And so even then, it's because it's dark. Most of us only get naked to have sex or get dressed or, utility. When you're in the shower in the dark, you have to touch yourself differently. So now it's like, should I exfoliate my elbows a little? Do I need to shave? Because it's like very nurturing. You have to touch everything to see what's going on. So it's restorative. It's nurturing.
So I have a question then, because everything that you are saying, I'm learning so much, resonates with me as a woman because of, how we have to show up in the world, society, like how my mind is sometimes labored by all the things that you talk about, kids and bills and everything like that. In your work, do you find that men have issues connecting to their sensual selves as well, or is it women? Like,
I don't like. People assume that I only talk to women. People assume that I only talk to Black women. People assume that I only talk to fat Black women. Listen, if you fucking, I'm talking to you because I'm talking to everyone. Because I think that people with penises need to connect to their sensuality as well.
Yeah.
It makes you a better person. It makes you a better partner. It makes you a better parent.
Yeah.
It makes you a better lover.
I want to transition here to, talking more about physical sex and organs and stuff like that, because this is where, your bread and butter, you teach this. And I want to talk about how increasing your sexual skill can actually help your sexual confidence, because you teach skills like actual, like, like tips and stuff like that. So
Yes. Intercourse instruction.
intercourse instruction.
Aye. Ken.
This is a good way to put it. So how can couples start to increase their skill level to increase their sexual confidence? Of course,
Sitting right out of the right.
So you know how like you learn a line dance, right?
Uh-huh.
You learn a line dance, you do it just the way they teach it to you. You know what I'm saying? Then when you get it down, you spinning and popping, you facing a different direction than everybody else. You add an extra claps where, you know what I'm saying? You put your own razzle dazzle to it. The workshops are the razzle dazzle. I assume you knew the line dance, but you got it.
Okay.
And also, every person is different.
Yeah.
So the workshops that I teach are best practices, places to begin,
Mhm.
but it's still a conversation with your partner
Mm.
because they may like something,
Yeah.
they may not like something.
Yeah.
I talk about how to add toys to everything I teach too. Some people have aversions to sex toys and pleasure tools. Some people don't know that they can have pleasure tools in the bedroom with a partner. People think, oh, this is just for single people. Oh, I have a partner, so self-pleasure is not a part of my life. Self-pleasure should be a part of your life because how do you know what you like? If you don't know what you like, how can you communicate that to someone else? You know what I'm saying? It's not cheating. It's you having sex with the person you love most in the world. You.
These reframings are good, like perspective shifts.
I'm just saying, because sometimes people need permission. They do.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you know what? Okay.
permission.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And people think we have these reframes of, oh, that's for single people. Oh, sex toys are for people that ain't getting none.
Mhm.
Oh, I have a little wand that I sell, and in the oral sex workshop I talk about performing oral sex, and you put the wand here. It's a vibration, it's a rumble, and you put it under your chin
Oh.
while you're performing oral sex on your partner.
I'm very curious. I'm like, whoa.
Because if you think about it, if you're performing oral sex on a penis and you hum, that vibration comes through, right? You hum, right? That vibe comes through. Once you put it here, it's a consistent vibe that
Yeah.
you don't have to produce. If you're performing oral sex on a vulva, humming into the vulva or a moan into the vulva is a game changer immediately.
First of all, I just learned something.
For sure.
So
Like-
it's a
like-
game changer. It feels different when you vocalize into your partner's genitals.
This
So
one I need to know. Just no.
okay, look, but
Let me
I'm just saying. So when you put just adding something to it,
that's good.
you could be performing oral sex on a vulva and put the wand here,
Yeah.
and they feel that vibration through your mouth. And now whatever your mouth's doing is amazing. On top of the fact that it's vibrates, without you having to be doing all this, you know, so you have to be doing all this extra shaking and shit like that. You don't have to. What's button?
That's good. You down there singing?
You got to.
Put the microphone right here.
That
Oh.
is good.
Can you give me more information on? So you talk about oral sex, the G spot.
Okay.
Okay, I know it's a pleasurable zone, and we just need concrete information from you about it because I heard mysteries about it. It's a button. It's not a button. This is how you finger it. This is not how you. I don't know. Go up and to the left. Is that prescriptive? Is everybody different?
Yeah.
It's just like it's a body part. So everyone, G-spot may not be in the same space. And so it is like a round, it's about the size of a nickel, maybe a little bit bigger than a nickel. And it's raised and bumpy. So this is awful, but like, you know how like a ringworm looks? Kind of like that, but on the inside. So it's, you know, if you run your hand across the arm, and you can feel the ring.
Yes.
If you run your hands across your finger, you can feel it. If your partner is aroused, and if they're properly hydrated. Arousal is blood flow.
Okay.
Arousal is blood flow. And if you're not properly hydrated, your blood is not flowing.
Yeah.
So everybody should be drinking water.
Yes.
If you drink more water, not only does it help your vision improve because your eyes are actually wet and can focus, it helps with sleep. It helps with calm. It helps with focus. It helps with blood pressure. It helps with migraines. It helps with all these different things. But when it comes to sex, if you have a vulva, when you're aroused, you know, the vulva kind of plumps up. It gets plumper.
Yes.
So the clit plumps up. It's easier to hit. It's easier for orgasm to be achieved. When you're wet, you get wetter.
Yeah.
If you're not a squirter, you can be. If you are a squirter, you'll squirt more.
So, and real quick, so this is why I feel like foreplay is so important. And I wanted for you to talk a little bit about that because all of this biological mechanics happen during foreplay, kind of comparing
Science and whole
sex.
shit. Yes.
Yeah, for real. Knowing that.
That's the name of the book I'm working on is Science and Whole Shit.
Oh,
So
okay. See, that's what I'm saying. So it's really important because your body's going through all this biological mechanics. Make sure that sex is pleasurable for you. Make sure stuff doesn't hurt. So
for you too.
but I want to talk to you about that. Yeah. How do men enjoy foreplay?
Okay, so let me finish telling you about the water first because I'm moving on to with the penis, right? So if you have a penis being properly hydrated, it improves erection quality, right? Because sometimes it's a pickle, sometimes it's a pipe. It also helps with stamina. It also helps with the texture of ejaculate. Cum should be the texture of spit, not snot.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
So if you want your dick sucked, like help the person that's sucking your dick, like take more water so it's not like.
And pineapple juice.
Pineapple. Okay, so pineapple juice will not make you taste like pineapple.
No, but
It'll make you sweeter. Everyone's genitals and fluids have a natural baseline flavor.
Yeah.
If you're properly hydrated, then your diet, like then when you have like berries and citrus and pineapple and water and things like that. It'll make you sweeter and lighter. Red meat, beer, smoking, anything. I'm talking about cigarettes, cigars, weed, meth, whatever. Smoking makes you taste stronger and more bitter.
Oh,
And that's
okay.
and that's for everyone. That's
Okay.
for that's for vulvas and penises, right?
Okay.
And so if you're not drinking enough water, it don't matter if you have pineapples or not because the shit too thick. It's too concentrated. It's not gonna make a difference.
I like that. I appreciate that. That's
But
interesting.
but yeah, so like being properly hydrated impacts all of those things. When it comes to foreplay,
Yes.
if you're not properly hydrated, your foreplay is not gonna be doing its job either.
Okay. Tell me about
Because
the
when-
foreplay with the
Because when
men.
you're aroused, your pupils dilate, your nipples get firm, your genitals firm up and plump up and things like that. The blood is flowing through your body in a different
Yes.
way. The blood moves from your like extremities that you don't really need at the moment to the genitals, etc.
Yes.
Foreplay, premature ejaculation. A lot of people speculate that premature ejaculation is because people with penises also need about 20 to 35 minutes worth of foreplay before having sex too. So when you come too fast because you was out here having sex with a half-baked erection, you're delivering it too early. So foreplay is not just for vulvas. And I want to also say that foreplay is not just touching and rubbing and kissing and doing all the things. Sometimes foreplay is watching you handle your responsibilities. It's not just the kissing and the hugging and the rubbing and the touching that is foreplay. It is lots of because the brain is the biggest sex organ. So it's all of it.
Yeah.
It's texting throughout the day. And I tell people, don't write a check your ass can't catch.
Yeah.
Don't send a text your ass can't catch. Because you be texting that hot shit, and by the time they get home,
But see,
The closure decreases as the day.
like, listen, that was like
on.
30 texts ago. Like, I got nothing, sir. But it's just like, it's all of that, right? And so, and when date night, right? If you go out to eat,
you got to do it
have
first.
sex. Have sex before you go out to
Thank
eat.
you. Oh,
Okay. Yeah, because
Oh.
you be full.
Who want to have sex right now?
You be
I
full.
just had all the delicious. No,
I gotta move my belly out the way.
Correct.
Not.
First of all, that is so true. That is the most like realistic, practical advice that I like. That's the first thing I've said before. Oh my goodness. So I do want to talk a little bit about some of those obstacles that hinder sex because you mentioned premature ejaculation,
Yes, that's
but I
true.
know that there's like erectile dysfunction and like vaginismus and some other things. What
Mhm.
advice would you give to couples who are experiencing these things?
So if you have vaginismus, you need a pelvic floor therapist.
Oh, okay.
That's full stop. Pelvic floor therapist. And the Vagina Rehab Doctor is an amazing pelvic floor therapist on Instagram. And they have I'm sure they do like one-on-one support as well because they are a doctor of physical therapy.
Yeah.
But they have like stretching labs and things like that because people think Kegelen is going to keep you from peeing when you sneeze. I mean, and that's not because Kegels are not your pelvic floor. They're a piece of your pelvic floor. So you need to work out your entire pelvic floor, especially if you've had a baby, regardless if it was a vaginal birth or a C-section. If you have a penis, you need to be doing your Kegels too, because like if you make the penis jump, those are your Kegel muscles. It helps with erection quality. It helps with stamina. It helps with maybe delaying erectile disappointment, because you're getting the blood flow and strengthening the root of the penis, right? There are lots of ways. I think I'm going to go ahead and do a workshop because I keep getting asked about premature ejaculation and erectile disappointment. There are lots of ways to have pleasurable sex without an erection because you do not need an erection to come.
What you talking about?
I know. It's Fargo. But you can come with a flaccid penis.
Impossible.
No, absolutely not. It's very possible. If you stimulate the head of your dick, if you have erectile disappointment, your penis is not going to get hard. But if you stimulate the tip of your penis, all those nerve endings, depending on how it's stimulated, right? So you can take, like if you're masturbating on a vulva, you have like, the DJ, right? You're like stimulating the clit and all the things. You can have the head of the penis, even if it's not hard, you can take the head of the penis and use that to stimulate the clit and the vaginal opening, etc. It feels great to the person with dick. It feels great to the person with the vulva. There's still all the warmth and the wetness and all the things. And you're still feeling that on the tip of your dick, even if the erection is not happening. You can come, they can come. There are hollow strap-ons that are open at the end. So you put your penis inside, so the tip of the dick is outside the strap-on. So you still get all that stimulation and you're still the sleeve helps give you a firmness that you can insert yourself into your partner. So you can still have sex, insert of sex with a flaccid penis.
Wow. That's going to change somebody's life because somebody probably struggling, like thinking there's no hope
And it's a thing
Yeah.
for the people that have the penises. That's why I call it erectile disappointment, because word mean things, and dysfunction is just so heavy. There is a hopelessness. There is a
Yeah.
just dysfunction just is heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But disappointment, because you didn't do it, you didn't choose it.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? So I say erectile disappointment.
well, so then I'll ask you about premature ejaculation. I heard that thing. Is it 40% of all men have it? And then another one was healthy ways to strengthen or to like get rid of ED, like healthy ways, like natural stuff that you can do.
Well, first
like
you got to figure out
herbs,
why. You got to
diamonds?
figure out where your ED is coming from first. It may be
Oh,
mental, it may be psychosomatic, it may, you know what I'm saying? So
okay.
figure out where it's coming from first. Hydration helps because arousal is blood flow and erections are blood flow.
Yeah.
Hydration helps. If you have a sedentary job or you like sit at a desk all day, for every hour, walk around for like 5 minutes. Stand sometimes and work because you're sitting on top of your genitals, so you're restricting the blood flow. And that's whether you have a penis or a vulva.
That just makes sense.
That's super practical.
That just makes
I
sense.
love that.
It makes sense, but it's not common sense, right? It makes sense, but it's not common sense. Do you take a multivitamin? Are you exercising? Don't skip leg day. Even if you're not exercising, walking around the block, like after you eat, walk around the block. My grandparents do it. And again, all my grandmothers are still alive. Once they eat dinner and everything, they walk around the block to digest their food.
They know.
Right? But also, it's leg day, right? So arousal is blood flow. And when you're doing exercises like walking and squats and things like that, it's increasing the blood flow below the waist. So just simple things like that. Don't wear, if your drawers are too tight, you know what I'm saying? That's a challenge. If your pants are too tight, that's a challenge. If these young kids, they sagging and all that stuff, they sagging in these tight ass pants, which I don't understand because the pants are super tight, but they're also sagging. I don't get it. But you're restricting the way your legs can move.
Yeah.
And when you're sitting down, the waistband of your pants is probably across your leg.
Okay. Probably. Yeah.
Right. So it's those types of things, right? Leafy green vegetables, like your diet matters.
Your diet always matters.
All of that. And then sometimes it can be like a supplement or a pill or something because it may be something in your body. And a lot of times the reason we have so many ED medications is because we're addressing the symptoms and not the root cause. We don't know why the erections are challenged. We just know that they are and we need to fix it.
You're right. That's what
So
we do for everything.
talk to your doctor. If you're having erectile difficulty, talk to your medical doctor. Get a referral to a urologist. They specifically work with the penis and the vulva. They specifically work with genitals all day, every day, and figure out what the challenge is. Don't try to go it alone. Don't get on Google. Don't try, you know what I'm saying? Do the bare minimum things like troubleshoot yourself and then go to the doctor.
That's good.
That's good.
And I know the doctor is a luxury. Doctor is a class thing. Everyone doesn't have access to medical care. There are clinics. If there's a medical school anywhere that you live near, they have to get their hours and they have, programming that you can just be a test dummy or whatever. But that's even better because they're curious and they're fresh eyes and it's like the learning hospital, right? So go, if you don't have access to medical care, find a medical school in your area.
I love that.
Just like find a dentist school in your area to get you, you know what I'm saying? Like find the medical school and see if there's programming fit.
I like that. I like that.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Good practical advice. I love that.
And could you talk to, and this is the last thing I'll say for men, performance anxiety is a thing. And sometimes it's, ED related, sometimes it's premature ejaculation related. Sometimes it's just not related to that. It's just performance anxiety straight up. Was there anything you can tell us about what we could do to kind of help us with that?
All of the things that we've talked about up until now will support that.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're just not in the mood and there's a pressure that men are always in the mood. It's okay for you to not be in the mood. And I think that more men need to recognize and embrace that because the performance anxiety can come from the fact that you feel like you have to perform. So sometimes you're like, you know what, babe, let's just cuddle. I'm really not feeling it tonight. Can we, I've really been thinking about this thing because sometimes, again, your brain is your biggest sex organ. So if there's something that's on your mind, it's something that's been on your heart and you can't focus on sex right now because you're just not in the mood or for whatever reason. Sometimes you just have a long day, you don't want to.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I like that.
And you guys have the right to be able to say, just like we have the right to be like, I'm not really feeling it today. I had a long day. I'm just really not feeling it. Can we just, can we do something else? Can we just chill? Let's go. Can we go watch a movie? Can we, you know what I'm saying? It's okay. And I think a lot of the performance anxiety is because you feel like you have to.
Wow. That's clean.
Very, so like, you're my kind of girl. I love simple. I love practical. I love like basic understanding because
Again, if
meet
it's
people where they
accessible.
are. Yeah, it has to
Yeah, it's
really-
accessible. And so, like you said, the workshops and stuff are my bread and butter, but they're not. Speaking engagements are my bread and butter because people realize when they hear me on podcasts and things like that I don't just do radiology, that I don't just teach in-person instruction, right? I teach sex, gender, and orientation. I teach my radiology class. I teach twice a year to the partners of people with spinal cord injuries because they're always on top. I teach about undoing your parenting. I teach about, on campuses, I do like sex trivia and stuff on campuses. Sensual intelligence, I teach to survivors of violation because they want to reconnect to their bodies and their pleasure.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
they conflate pleasure with sexual pleasure. And that's sort of, activating for them. So we have to refocus and go around the sexual pleasure and just focus on the non-sexual pleasure.
Yeah.
I teach faculty, sex, gender, and orientation. I've been booked by Meta twice to train around navigating pronouns in the workspace, reducing microaggressions in the workspace. Like I do all kinds of stuff. It's all connected back to sex. I say I'm a SHAPE professional, sexual health and pleasure education professional, because I tie everything back to sex.
What advice could you give for couples to something they could do tonight to help them enjoy the experience of being with each other a little bit more?
Yeah, I would say take a shadow shower.
Shadow shower. There it is.
Yeah. Absolutely. As far as like where people can find me and all that stuff, my name is Goody.
Yeah.
Right? It's my legal name, Goody.
Wow, that's great.
And it's not my born name, but it is my legal name.
Goody. Okay, cool stuff.
Yes. So Ask Goody, anywhere likes can be clicked. The website is askgoody.com. If people are interested in booking me to come speak at their college or, on their campus, if they just have a group of homegirls and they want to talk about Black women and HIV prevention, I'm funded through a grant to talk about Black women and HIV prevention specifically. Social work colleges, public health colleges, all the things.
Okay.
All the things.
Awesome.
Okay. Wow, I learned so much, and I just want to thank you so much for your time. Thank you all for tuning into this very special episode with Goody Howard of Black Nurse Therapy. If you haven't yet, follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Black Nurse Therapy. Thanks again for listening. Talk to you soon.